Zimbabwean President Emmerson Mnangagwa has secured the ruling Zanu-PF's backing to be its candidate in next year's elections. The 80-year-old was unanimously selected for another 5-year term at a conference in Harare. Mnangagwa took over since succeeding Robert Mugabe as president 5 years ago. For more on this, I'm joined by Zimbabwean journalist Zenzele and Ndebele. Very good morning to you. How have Zimbabweans reacted to the news?
Morning. I think it was expected that Mnangagwa was going to get another 5 years because the process in Zanu-PF is not always competitive. It's rare. I mean, it has never happened that the incumbent is challenged. So there was no challenger, and therefore it was just an automatic situation that he was going to be nominated for another 5 years.
Despite, during the run-up to Congress, a lot was said about Mnangagwa's deputy, who was said to be launching a late challenge for power. What happened to that?
Zimbabwean politics has always been speculative. But what is interesting is the way the Congress itself is designed, or the nominations are designed. Each province is supposed to elect a candidate or endorse the sitting candidate before they get to the Congress. So when Zanu-PF went to the Congress, no province had nominated the vice president. And when they got there, it was just for confirmation. So by the time you go to the Congress, you know which province has elected who. And when they get that to the Congress, it's just by endorsements, like in a stadium. Those who want us behind us, those who don't want us the other side. So it's not the situation where there will be a secret ballot and all those kind of things. So the other thing that we have to look at, or the other dimension that we have to look at, is that currently the country's constitution says the president serves for 2 terms and then he retires. So the vice president could have also taken a waiting game, that if it is 2 terms, then that means after 5 years he's gone. Why do I take a chance that maybe fall out? Maybe I should wait for my 10. But it's not automatic that he'll be the next one in, because it's Zanu-PF that chooses the next candidate.
The president also spoke about how the big focus now, the big shift, will move towards the 2023 elections. In terms of the preparation process, what still needs to happen ahead of that? Because I suppose that Mnangagwa will have to elect and announce a new Politburo.
Yeah, well, he retained his guys, the old guard, the chairperson of the party, the vice presidents, and so I don't see him changing those guys because he doesn't want to, unsettle people. He doesn't want to have divisions. Remember, Zanu-PF is still healing from the 2017 coup because a lot of guys were, fell by the wayside, others went into exile. We have seen a couple of guys coming back in the Central Committee. And so in terms of the structure of the party, he's not likely to make any serious changes or any changes at all because he wants to maintain that winning team. So he might drop 1 or 2, which is very unlikely. But going to the elections, the biggest challenge is, the economy. Fighting corruption, fulfilling the promises that he made, and managing the expectations of the general population, but also is under pressure from the newly formed Citizens for Coalition Change, which was formerly MDC, and they've been gaining traction and feels to be under pressure to make sure that they deliver a victory in 2023.
What we've also seen is a lot of flack coming from British parliamentarians who are speaking and perhaps warning President Mnangagwa against his continued clampdown on dissent and a violation of human rights, saying that the world is watching. Any sort of reaction to that you've seen from President Mnangagwa? Well,
the president will always say the right things, but what is happening on the ground will be different. There were by-elections just about a week ago in one of the constituencies, ward elections in Matopo and in Caesar, and there was serious violence there. We saw, opposition members being beaten up, thoroughly and seriously. Their cars damaged, tires slashed, and that is against what the president has always said, that he doesn't want violence, people should sell ideas and all those kind of things. But that has always been the trend, that publicly you will hear people denouncing violence, but then the violence happens and no one is arrested. If the violence is perpetrated by Zanu-PF, no one is arrested. If it's the opposition, the opposition is arrested. So there is always an unfair playing field. Violence is always used, and it's quite a tricky situation. And I don't see that improving. I don't see violence being eliminated in the Zimbabwean politics because of how Zanu-PF has managed to retain power for the last 40 years.
What about some of the robust plans that should be expected when it comes to improving the state of the economy in Zimbabwe and making it conducive enough? How much has been spoken to that?
The Zimbabwean economy is linked to the Zimbabwean politics. So there's been a lot of talk that the economy is improving, but an ordinary person does not feel that. The teacher still earns less than $50. Their unemployment is very high. People are struggling with power, with a lot of issues. So someone might say, yes, there has been a stability in terms of the US dollar versus the Zimbabwean dollar. For a while now, it is maintained at a certain level, and there is talk of good things happening. But the ordinary person does not feel and does not see those good things.
Absolutely. Very well. Thank you so much. Let's leave it there for now. Zimbabwean journalist Zenzele Ndebele, thank you for your time.